5 minutes.
Mr. Chair, thank you very much. I rise today, like many of my colleagues, to offer an amendment to push back on yet another ill-informed and arguably reckless proposal. This amendment, which I'm proud to co-lead with Chairwoman on Capital Markets, Ms. Ann Wagner, is a straightforward amendment to protect businesses in states like mine in Iowa, but many communities across America, and to mitigate harm to investors at every level. This amendment would prohibit unelected bureaucrats at the SEC from using funds in this legislation to require a small business to be forced to consider unrelated external factors as they review financial statements. Like my colleagues, again on both sides of the aisle, I agree that preventing fraud and maintaining financial reporting integrity is essential to U.S. capital markets. However, this proposal is unnecessary and extremely burdensome. If passed, it would divert valuable resources away from a business's principal responsibility to rigorously evaluate financial statements and make every auditor into some kind of pseudo-attorney, a situation no small business can afford. Small businesses are already the subject of highly complex and often technical laws and regulations at both federal, state, and even local authorities impose upon them. The vague and complex language included in this proposal creates ambiguity that would only lead to adverse outcomes for U.S. businesses, including increased legal and compliance costs for all that ultimately are passed on to everyday Americans. In fact, the estimated report from this proposal could triple the annual costs for public companies to a tune of more than $55 billion per year. Mr. Speaker, I came to Congress, like so many in this room, to be able to serve my constituents and to roll back the type of bureaucracy and bureaucratic requirements that are crushing everyday Main Street businesses in my hometown and towns like it across Iowa. By an imposed non-elected person somewhere in Washington who sits behind a desk and writes these regulations with no consideration of the impact to hometown America, we do ourselves a disservice. And so with this amendment, I believe it is a step forward to fulfilling so many of our commitments that we share on both the left and the right, and I urge my colleagues to support this amendment. Thank you, Mr. Chair, and with that I reserve.